In this story we will see a fox god who has to come to Earth from heaven. After coming to Earth, that fox falls in love with a girl. Now that fox is a god, so no tool of Earth has any effect on him. He has so much power that he can destroy the whole Earth. He has been alive for thousands of years and is living on Earth. At the beginning of the story, we are told about the nine-tailed fox. If this fox becomes 100 years old, then it can take any human form, and if somehow its age becomes 1,000 years, then it becomes equal to God. Its powers increase so much that no one can compete with it. Now at the beginning of the story, we are shown a family in which a couple was going home after celebrating their daughter's birthday. The name of that little girl was Gia, and she had got a toy as a gift. She was very happy to see that toy, but then suddenly their car meets with an accident. Gia wakes up and sees that her toy was broken and her mom and dad were killed in the accident. But then two people who look like her parents come out of the car. Then suddenly Gia's dream opens and she was seeing a dream. Her mom and dad were still alive, but her toy was broken in the car accident. And in reality too, Gia's toy was broken. There were a lot of blood marks on Gia's hand, which means that it was not a dream. Then Gia cleverly asks her mom to bring walnuts. Gia was allergic to walnuts, but still her mom goes to get walnuts. By this, Gia understood that this was not her mom. Because if she was her mom, then she would have known that Gia is allergic to walnuts. Gia attacks her mother's lookalike with scissors and runs away, but then her fake mom and dad chase her. They were about to kill her, but then a boy named Lee Yun comes there. Lee does some magic on Gia, due to which Gia forgets everything. Now the scene shifts and we are shown 21 years later. We see Lee, who has not aged yet because he was the nine-tailed fox. He has been living on Earth for many years and his age increases very slowly. Lee goes to a wedding and meets the bride of that wedding. Actually, this girl is a fox who has completed her 100 years, and she has also come to Earth in a human form, but she is an evil fox and she has killed many humans, so Lee came to kill her. There is a fight between Lee and that girl. A fight starts in the middle, but Lee was very powerful and he is about to kill the fox, but she says that she wants to complete her marriage before dying. Lee agrees to this. As per the condition, as soon as the marriage is over, Lee kills her with his magical sword, but before dying. The fox asks Lee to erase all the memories of her husband so that she can marry someone else in her future life and live comfortably. As soon as the fox dies, she turns into dust and her clothes are left there. All the people who came to the wedding think that the bride has run away from there, leaving her clothes behind, but then Gia enters there. She had grown up a lot now and she used to work in forensics. She comes to that wedding with her assistant and starts investigating the bride's clothes. She finds Fox's hair in the bride's clothes, but there was no fox in that city, which means that the fox's arrival at that wedding was not justified. It was impossible. Now on the other side, Lee is shown to us. He was sitting in a garden where a girl's balloon flew away into the sky. He magically brings back the balloon and gives it to the girl. Another child sees him doing this. The child asks Lee if he is an alien. Lee tells him that he is a nine-tailed fox and he has been alive for thousands of years and he has come to Earth because he is waiting for someone to be born. Who is he waiting for? We will find out later in the movie. Now Lee goes to the office of the afterlife. The lady in this office's job is to keep account of all those who are dying. That is, in a way, she is Yamraj. It was the lady who asked Lee to kill that fox. Lee did not like the job of killing people at all. But then the woman shows him a contract which Lee had signed. According to this contract, when Lee was in heaven, the girl he loved died and he is waiting for her rebirth on Earth, and he has signed a contract to get permission to live on Earth. According to this contract, he has to kill criminals. That is why he cannot back out from this work. On the other hand, Gia was investigating the death of that girl, and from the CCTV camera, she suspects a man with a red umbrella, and this man with a red umbrella is none other than Lee. Gia goes to a restaurant and meets a boy there. The boy tells Gia that he is a man with a red umbrella. The man with the red umbrella will meet her at the bus stand, but Gia did not believe the boy's words, but still Gia has to believe him because she has to catch the man with the red umbrella. Now the boy gets up from the restaurant and starts leaving. On the way we can see that the boy changes his form. Here we come to know that he is also a fox and he is none other than Lee's brother Rang, but he wants to tease Lee a lot. At night Gia reaches the bus stand and she starts waiting for the man with the red umbrella, i.e. Lee, to come, but then a drunk man comes there and stops Gia from boarding the bus. Then Lia runs away and sits in a taxi and starts chasing the bus. Later she sees that the bus had met with an accident and all the people sitting inside it were killed. Lee was missing from inside that bus, but a man named Soo-young was inside that bus. The girl was still alive. When the girl regains consciousness, Gia goes to her. She shows her the photo of the man with the red umbrella, but till now the girl only remembered that the man with the red umbrella, i.e. Lee, wanted to kill her. Now Gia knew about Lee. She finds him. She somehow takes his fingerprints and sends them to the forensic lab, so that she can find out who all he has killed. Gia takes the girl to her house because she was feeling scared inside the hospital. Gia asks the girl about the entire incident that happened in the bus. The girl tells that the man with the red umbrella had killed all the people inside the bus and was about to kill her too, but then we are shown a flashback that the girl was lying. That girl is also a fox and that girl had killed all those passengers inside the bus. Lee went to stop that girl, but he was very much injured, due to which he could not stop her. In the present, Gia also gets suspicious of that girl and she breaks a glass and puts it on his neck. Gia asks him the truth. Gia got suspicious of her because all the people inside the bus had died, but even then that girl did not have a single scratch, but then that girl attacks Gia. Now that girl comes in her real form. It was Lee's brother Rang. He tells Gia that he will eat her alive, but then Gia attacks him with a glass. But he was a fox and had many powers. Nothing happened to him with this glass. Meanwhile, Lee also reaches there. Lee attacks Rang very fast and a fight starts between them in which Lee was overpowering Rang. Both of them start fighting in Gia's house using their powers, but Rang loses and he runs away from there. Now Lee makes Gia forget everything with his magical powers. Now Gia comes to her senses that she was very clever. She had installed cameras inside her entire house. She sees everything inside the CCTV. Gia's forensic team gives her the address of Lee's house, which they have found. Lee reaches home and sees a video of his and his brother's fight playing on a laptop. Then Gia comes in front of him. She asks him about his truth, but Lee was not telling her anything. Gia goes and sits on the wall of the building and falls down from there. Then Lee also jumps down from the building and holds Gia in his lap. Even after jumping from such a height, nothing happened to Lee and he saved Gia as well. Gia did this intentionally so that he could find out the truth about Lee. Now the scene shifts to the past. We are shown Lee's past. This is a story of several thousand years ago. Lee lived on a paradise-like island and he was the god there. He could control the rain and wind. One day, Lee was resting when a little girl, Yoon, came to him and she touched his hair with a strand. Now, because Lee was a fox, his hair looked like a strand. He gets a lot of relief. Yoon grows up, but Lee remains the same age because he was a god. They fall in love. Lee started loving Yoon a lot, but one day Yoon suddenly died. Yoon's soul was going to heaven in a boat, but then Lee froze the sea. He did not want to lose Yoon, but he knew that Yoon was dead and her soul had to go to heaven. So Lee puts a magical seed in Yoon's mouth. Whenever Yoon is born again and Lee, when he comes near her, a light will start shining around Yoon, which will make Lee understand that she is Yoon and she has come to Earth after taking a second birth. For thousands of years, Lee has been searching for Yoon on Earth, but till date he has not found Yoon. In the present, Gia threatens Lee that she will tell everyone about her truth, but now Gia has remembered everything. When her parents died, she had seen the man with the red umbrella there and she had understood that that man was none other than Lee. Gia felt that her parents are still alive. That is why Lee will have to help her in finding her parents, and if he finds Gia's parents, she will forget everything. Lee agrees to help her. Lee goes to the afterlife office because the names of all the dead are written there, but till now Gia's parents were not among the dead people, which means they are still alive on the other side. A man comes to Gia who is a Bulgasari. You can say it is a magical demon who has come to kill Gia, but then Lee reaches there and beats up the Bulgasari badly. Bulgasari tells him that his brother Rang has sent him. The scene shifts and we are shown 3 fishermen in a sea. Those 3 fishermen find the skull of their friend Mr. Su. Rang comes to Mr. Su's daughter, which means that he has done something. On the other side, Lee finds Rang by torturing Bulgasari and he goes to meet Rang. Here we come to know that Rang is from Lee. Why in Chitala? A long time ago, Lee had cut Rang in two, but he somehow survived, and that is why he now wants to kill Lee. Now Lee leaves his brother and goes away from there. The next day Jia reaches an island with Lee. This is the same island where Lee and Yoon used to live thousands of years ago. Jia went to that island to investigate the death of Mr. Su. On that island, Lee finds the spirit of a tree. It was the spirit of a little girl who was imprisoned inside a tree for many years. Lee starts interrogating her, but the girl did not know anything. Jia cuts a rope tied to the tree and the girl is freed. The girl tells Jia that she saw her parents on this island. The next day, an unknown man attacks Jia, but then Lee reaches there and kills that man and drives him away from there. Lee saves Jia. He starts applying herbs on the injury, but then he sees something strange in Jia's body. Before he can understand anything, Jia grabs his neck and tells him that he is the same Yoon. This was the first part of this movie, and if you want to see its next part, then you can tell me in the comment.